Well, good morning, everyone. This is our weekly real estate backstory. We do this every Monday morning around 9, kind of starting off your week with all the comings, the goings, all the things happening in real estate in the Atlanta market. My name is Alan Richardson.
My name is, I'm sorry, I'll cut you off.
Okay,
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker, a Maximum One Realtor and Realty partner. And Alan, of course, is a qualifying broker.
very good. Want to start off talking about a couple of different things that are kind of impacting our industry this morning. First thing is, like we're noticing how many cameras there are on listings, and it's changing how we show real estate. It's changing the way that we show properties. We need to make sure that we are communicating this. Like just this past week, one of our agents is showing one of her properties. It's her property listed. While she's showing the property, her phone rings and it's her seller. And the seller says, "You forgot to tell them about so and so. And don't forget about this over here." She's with the buyer. She's with the buyers right now, and the seller is micromanaging her over the shoulder kind of thing. So we need and there's a couple of different things that we need to be prepared for. First of all, this is your seller's house. They can do it even if you think it's creepy. Now, there shouldn't be anything in bathrooms or anything, like really inappropriate like that. But if a seller has a camera in their home, that's their personal choice. They can do that. Can you warn buyers? Yeah, look, and we need to make sure that our buyers understand what they're walking into. We've seen where buyers and their agents will negotiate what they're going to offer with each other.
At the house. And so I have had seller call me on my listing, said, "Oh yeah, we're getting an offer from this agent and they're looking at this and they really want the house, just so you know." And I'm
So
like,
make
okay.
sure that we counter back at this price, kind of thing. So cameras are changing kind of how we're doing our business here. We need to be, we need to be ready to have conversations both with our sellers and with our buyers. That look, we really shouldn't discuss any kind of personal information, especially no purchase information here. We've had clients that have tried to do that standing on the front porch in front of a Ring doorbell. So sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. The basic rule that we're trying to, or that we're kind of encouraging you, is act like there's always a camera there. If you act like there's always a camera there, then you don't have to worry about, is there a camera there? So just kind of accept that they're going to be there,
And
or they
if you,
might be there.
for that particular agent, if you have a seller that's very particular about certain message that's
Mhm.
they want to convey at showing, maybe you want to print that up and pop it up in a kitchen counter so the buyer can see it as well. And also as a reminder for you, if you are showing your own listing, to mention these features.
And then also, this is a time to be very thankful. There's a lot of events going on. There's so much stuff happening out there in just our normal lives. And just a week ago today, a local agent had got a phone call from a buyer, and turns out and all he wanted to see was vacant properties.
Correct. And secluded.
And so like her spidey sense kind of went off, and so it ends up finding out that this person has 40 convictions, including felony assaults, robbery, drug trafficking, and sexual assaults. And he's just claiming that he's an out-of-town buyer, all cash. And so, Georgia MLS has forewarned as part of their
Have your member benefit.
it's just part of the fees that you pay every single month through Georgia MLS. Download forewarn and be smart. Honestly, before she actually checked him out, her spidey sense went off. Right, she felt like something was really kind of, yeah. And so like listen to yourself. If something sounds fishy, it probably is. Most of the time when people after an attack or after something's happened, they say, it didn't feel right going into it, but they did it anyway. So don't do that. Make sure that you take your safety first and foremost, and are prepared for that.
Unfortunately, it seems like during the holiday season, people sometimes get a little more desperate because they feel like they need to obtain something. So just, be wise and practice safely, because no amount of commission is going to justify if you get hurt.
Yeah. All right, so we have a lot of things happening in real estate here in the Atlanta area, and it's actually really good stuff. However, consumer sentiment right now is really pretty negative. overall respondents who say it's a good time to buy are only 14%. Folks who say that it's a bad time to buy is around 85%.
It's huge.
And so, but that's not really matching up with reality, right? Because part of what we have going on is we actually have increasing inventory. So we have more inventory for our buyers to choose from, and we have interest rates that are going down. Matter of fact, if you look over at like just this past week, so we're at 7.03. We're
Yeah,
about to
that's
break.
huge. I mean, we were less than almost 8%
Yeah,
almost a week ago. So,
no, 4 weeks ago.
well, 4
Yeah,
weeks ago. I
yeah,
apologize.
4 or 5 weeks ago.
Right. And so this is huge.
Well, we had an FHA come in at 6.8, 6.85. This past week, we had an FHA mortgage come in under 7. So we're seeing where interest rates are softening up, and that really is improving conditions for our buyers right now. I know that
Correct.
some of this data is kind of a month behind, and so and some of this data is coming from the point when interest rates are really high. We've seen just a massive drop in interest rates over the past 5-6 weeks. Now, tomorrow and Wednesday are going to be big days because the Fed is meeting tomorrow and Wednesday, and they'll
Correct.
decide whether or not they're going to raise the federal funds rate or leave it alone. Generally, everybody's thinking that they're just going to leave it alone. There's even some folks who are predicting for 6 reductions over the next year. So we'll kind of see what happens. They're really paying very close attention to not only inflation, which inflation is looking better, but they're also paying a lot of attention to jobs, and they want to see jobs, as weird as it sounds, not good. They want to see jobs softening a little bit, just because that will mean that inflation is going to be coming down instead of being really sticky. So I kind of find it kind of a negative way to look at things, but that seems to be what the Fed is really looking at right now. Now, overall, right now in the Atlanta market, our average buyer is having to spend 34.2% of their income to buy the average home in Atlanta right now. Okay. And so that is up, about 2.5% on there. And so that means that our median house payment for buyers overall in Atlanta is a
$2,542. That's quite a bit for a disposable income percentage.
Yep. So median home price 382, median income, meaning that how much does the average buyer has to have? Basically, has to have $90,000, 89,290, but this is called 90 grand.
And this can be built incomes, so not just one.
All right, now we've reached that time of year when folks are starting to make predictions for next year, and I think some of them are a good thing for us to kind of go over. And I wanted to kind of talk about them as far as like what Redfin, Zillow, and Realtor.com kind of have looking at the next year, because some of them we think, oh, that's probably good, and some of them we think, I don't think you're right. And so we're just going to kind of run through them with you real fast. So Redfin, first of all, says that home prices are going to fall 1%. We don't see that happening in Georgia. I do see some markets, mainly in Florida and California.
Understand these big players are doing overall US, so this is not really affecting the locality of the real estate. So.
Right. But real estate's local, like Mink said, and so. But that being said, Georgia doesn't look like that anyway. For us, we're so driven by interest rates, and as interest rates driving, that I don't think that we don't look at that.
We don't feel that downshift as a nationwide percentage. So, but that's what Refin's predicting nationwide.
We're looking at about 4% increase here in the state of Georgia right now. But overall, that's just kind of our gut feeling. Next is that they think that new listings will tick up. I think they're right.
Is true.
Yeah. I think as interest rates come down, new listings are going to tick up. Next, they say that home sales, just the volume of sales, will increase by 5%. I think it's going to be more. I think that we're going to be in double digit on percentage of increase. But the big caveat, star here, is going to be interest rates. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. Next thing is that mortgage rates will decline but stay above 6. And honestly, if interest rates get to 6.5, it's kind of Katie bar the door, right?
It's doable. And honestly, we were so spoiled to a certain extent during pandemic that 3% interest rate or 3 or 4% interest rate is unheard of.
It's not real.
So, that's not sustainable in any market. So therefore, 6%, 6.5 used to be the norm prior to the pandemic.
Yep. Now, next thing is they think is that there's going to be a lot of change to the industry via commission percentages, and I think that that's one of those. If we don't own the narrative,
Correct.
there's a potential over there. But as long as we are owning the narrative and we talk about this is the value that we provide, these are the services we provide, and these are the fees that we charge, like there is no set commission rate. So but we need to own that narrative and talk
Well,
about the
you need
value
to
that we
know,
bring.
right? You need to know what you're worth. If you don't think you're worth that, so the clients is going to think you're not worth it either.
Yeah.
So, there is a lot of value and benefit. Matter of fact, I got a call yesterday from one of our YouTube video asking me about unilateral from
Yeah.
a buyer.
Yeah.
And so, this tells me the seller or the buyer was unrepresented on one transaction because the buyer is calling me for advice.
Yep.
So, typically we all know when they use an agent, they typically sells a lot higher than do it for sell by owner.
Next is that they think that renting is going to lose its stigma. They think that renting is going to be like a preferred choice. I don't feel that, and the data really doesn't represent that. But is it hard for our first time buyers right now? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But this has come back to buyer consultation, you guys. I know a lot of time y'all think buyer consultation is not worth the time. I
It
promise
is
you, if
always.
you nurture your sphere of influences and let them know this, you put it in paper and show them what this is going to do for them in long term. I promise you, they'll look at it from a different
Yep.
perception.
The last thing Redfin thinks is that housing is going to be very important to the 2024 election. I agree.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
is
Yep.
already on the news right now.
Yeah. Now for Zillow, they also think inventory will rise. I agree. They think affordability will improve. I mean, like in terms of interest rates coming down, I think so. Yeah. The new start, the third point is that the new starter home is a rental. Kind of like Redfin, they think that renting is a really important piece of, and I know that renting is important, but home ownership is still the American dream. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that if we don't control the narrative there, it could happen. Next thing is more people are going to start moving back to the downtowns. They think that the downtown areas are going to start being because of because of the restrictions on remote work, that there'll be more people moving downtowns. That could be. Starter home buyers will compete with flippers. Yeah, it's already happening. Yeah.
It's already happened for years.
And then the big Z thinks that AI is going to enhance the home search process. Now, part of that has to do with, I think that they're trying to really use AI. So now, as far as realtor.com, they think home prices are going to dip 1.74, kind of like Redfin up there. I still disagree. We talked about that already. Next thing is that they feel that the number of home sales will stay flat. I don't see it staying flat. I see it beating last year, probably in the double digits again. They see mortgage rates at 6.5 by the end of 2024. I think that we're going to be lower than that, but it really does come on what happens with inflation, that kind of stuff, and jobs. They think that the sale inventory, the inventory is going to fall by 15%. I disagree. And matter of fact, if you look at the data right now, inventory is increasing, not decreasing. So I think that they're kind of off the mark here. And then the last thing is that rental supply is going to outpace demand, causing rental prices to drop.
I do believe in that a little bit, just because I see all these multi-unit townhomes, condo apartments are being built right now.
Yeah. So now, what are the numbers looking like right now in contrast to what the big three portals have to say? Well, first thing is that nationwide active listings are up. They're up big time. So all those folks who are saying, "Hey, we're sitting," I think Realtor.com said, inventory is going to drop by 15%. I don't see it happening. And that's what the trend we see.
A lot of folks that was holding on still because the interest rate was really high, they're now seeing a little reprieve on the interest rate, and therefore they're putting house on the market and see who's going to take it.
Yeah. Now, as far as overall property values, currently right now, year over year, nationwide, around 4.7%, which is so gloriously normal. It's not even funny. For the last 50 years, it's been 4.5%. They're forecasting 2.9%. Now, this is CoreLogic, and so they aren't part of the big three. That on all the big three, seem to think pricing is really going to be flattening off to a negative. CoreLogic, who's the largest
Data.
data aggregator for all the MLSs, is looking at about a 3% gain next year. So we think that they're a lot closer, needless to say. Now, where have we been? You can see that Georgia is in that 3 to 5%. We've been in about 4.5% property value increase as well, which is a very healthy place to be. Every time you see those areas where prices go through the roof, then you end up in having kind of a slingshot effect where it comes back and bites them. Like Florida, Florida, Texas, California, all those prices went up really, really high. And now like Texas is really starting to feel a little bit because prices went up so high. There's a little bit of swing back the other way at the moment.
Meaning that they're not increasing on a national
Yeah.
level, they're only increasing by less than 1%, which basically means they're coming flat right now.
Yeah. So I mean, whether you look at Case-Shiller, FHA, CoreLogic, Black Knight, Zillow, you can kind of see what's happening with home, with property values. And you can see that on so many of these, that areas highlighted in yellow, these are all-time high readings in real estate values. So we're not looking at, as of right now, we're looking between a 6 and 7% pace, which is what a lot of companies are looking at for 2023. And don't look at a huge drop for 2024. We would have to have, because we already don't have enough houses to begin with, and we have a huge millennial population that wants
There's
houses.
a lot of pent-up demand, but the pent-up demand has to justify the costs, and that's the bottom line.
Yep. Now, as overall, and again, nationwide median sale price is up 4.1%. Pending sales are down 7%. But this number every month, every week, it inches a little bit closer.
Every year around this time, that is a natural trend.
But this trend is actually improving, right? We've seen that steadily improve. So right now, new listings of homes are up 7%. Okay, because we spent a long time being under, then we've slowly been working our way back to where we finally have a little bit more listings, not a ton more, but a little bit more listings than we had last year. Overall, total active listings are down from where they were in 2020, 2021, 2022, in there kind of thing. But we are trending in a very positive way. And so active listings are looking better. So more inventory, better interest rates. This is not a bad time for our buyers right now.
And once again, like I said, if you wait until the interest rate drop to where it's comfortable, then you may be competing with a lot more buyer for the market.
Well, that's kind of what we see. We see us coming out of the gate. Normally January 1, our market really does take off. It doesn't really show in numbers because it takes a month or two to actually get all those showings to actually turn into actual transactions. But we normally see January 1, things really take off. So now is a great time before January 1 to really be out and start engaging with your buyers. Now, we are seeing a 4.1 month supply of inventory on the market. Now, this is always a higher time for us anyway, but still, it's the highest that we've seen it in a long time, pre-COVID kind of thing. All right, I want to change gears and I want to talk about renovations. So right now, the average home improvement spend is right around $9,500, and that's up. And there was a big COVID bump, but otherwise, you can see that overall, the average spend really has been trending up anyway, and more folks are spending money on their home. Part of that is that they why is it? Of course, they always want to maintain it and get more enjoyment out of it, but then there's also a financial return. There's also prepping for home buying and selling. And then, there's a lot of folks who are still renovating instead of moving because of interest rates. But as interest rates come down, these folks are going to say, well, a lot easier to do out there kind of thing as interest rates soften. So we're excited to see that. Now, what is very interesting here is that which generation spent the most money?
Millennial.
But millennials don't know how to do anything, right? I mean, baby boomers, Gen Xers give millennials normally a pretty hard time. And it turns out the millennials is the largest spending generation in renovations. Okay. For all those folks out there that thought, millennials don't even know what a screwdriver is. Guess what?
They do.
They do. Not only are they're putting their money where their mouth is out there. And so also a lot of our millennials understand that a home, in addition to being your home, is also an investment.
They're great looking at YouTube and do self-serve. So they're huge viewer for that.
Now, in the same survey, Angie went out and said, hey, what percentage of you love your mortgage? And so overall, love your home and love your mortgage. About half the folks in the United States love their home, love their mortgage. 34% of the folks love their home, hate their mortgage. So there's a pretty good opportunity out there for refis and that kind of stuff. 8% hate their home, love their mortgage. These are the folks who had homes before, or who have a home, who bought at a really low interest rate. So as interest rates come down, that 8% is really going to be looking to move. And then right now you have 7% of current homeowners that hate their home and hate their mortgage, right? And so there's a significant portion of Americans that are poised and ready to move, want to move out there. Now, of that same group, Gen Z, our youngest home buyers out there, are the biggest group that hate their home and that hate their home and love their mortgage, as well as hate their home and hate their mortgage. The younger the homeowner, probably the better off, the more likely they are to be looking to move right now, which is very, very interesting. Now, on the rental front, what we're seeing is that rental rates are coming down. Rents have been coming down. However, it depends on if it's a multifamily or a single family. Rental rates in single family homes are not coming down nearly as much. As a matter of fact, properties, rental properties, single family rentals are holding at the same rent of price appreciation as homes, right? 4.8% compared to 4.7 for property value increases. So the rents are very different on the other hand, kind of thing. So we are pleased to see rents that have come down pretty significantly, but that just means that folks can save more money is really what we want to see there.
And this will help them to save up and prepare to purchase their own wealth or prosperity.
Yeah. Don't forget, all your Max One needs you can find at max1market.com. We had several folks that jumped on that this past week.
Do we have any CE today?
And then this week we have now tomorrow is going to be our Christmas party.
So all our office will be shut down. It's at McDonough where we're hosting our Christmas party. Love for y'all to join us.
We're actually cooking.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
like,
scary.
No, it isn't. We love y'all, and we only cook for the people that we love. And so please come by. We would love to see you, hang out, have some lasagna and other things. I don't know if I was supposed to tell, but we're having lasagna. Christmas lasagna. Yeah. More than lasagna. Okay. All right.
So,
and then on Thursday, 2024 guard contract changes are marvelous.
Martin.
Marvelous Martin. Yes. Marvelous Mr. Martin.
Yes. Carrollton office to teach that class.
Yep.
So come out and join him. He's a good educator. So and I think you'll learn a lot.
Always do. All right. Well, hope you guys have a great week. If we can be any kind of service, please call, text, smoke signals. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great Monday. Enjoy.